Hey, welcome everyone to our town council meeting. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America and to the
The
republic,
republic for which it stands, one nation,
one
under
nation,
God,
only indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Counselor Adele Kuzguston. Here. Mayor Kaczynski.
Here.
Counselor Luddy.
Here.
Counselor Payanessa.
Here.
Counselor Rosso.
Here,
Counselor Yarnaga.
Here.
Counselor Beach. Here. There you have a quorum.
I have the mayor's report tonight, and for the mayor's report, we have an honored guest of a recent Eagle Scout. Was just made that rank, and we had one to the ceremony. So I could bring your, if you could, we did a town proclamation, and actually he brought his Representative Beach also was there. I had to bring that too because we invited him to a council meeting. He couldn't make it till tonight, so go up to the podium here. We'll read your proclamation and congratulate you on. It was a great ceremony at Kensington Congregational Church a couple weeks ago, I think, right? It was now. Yeah. Time flies when we're having fun. So what do we have here? We have we're gonna have Donna up in a moment to read that. We'll have our town proclamation. Okay. Rivers, how you doing? Nice seeing you again. So we had a proclamation we did, and we enjoyed the ceremony very much. Town of Berlin Town Council proclamation, be it hereby known to all that the town of Berlin hereby recognizes Mitchell Rivers on achieving the rank of Eagle Scout, Boy Scouts of America. In recognition of his commitment to his family, community, and upholding the principles of Eagle Scouting, the town council congratulates Mitchell and extends best wishes to him and all of his future endeavors. It was dated the 26th of September by myself. So congratulations. He did a project at the church, planted some nice trees along the back there, and I understand it was very difficult to some of the excavation was not.
Yeah, right.
This is his dad, Frank. Yeah, it was a
We
very.
had dug out 3 of the 4 trees, and we had them all perfectly spaced out. We got it done. And we put the shovel into the 4th hole. We hit a rock.
Uh-oh.
That's 2 feet. Rock. The entire thing was just one solid rock. It probably weighed 200 something pounds. We had to
No.
like wedge out because it was the size of the hole.
Oh,
It was just right in the hole. We took a while to dump out.
persistence, perseverance, you got through it, right? That's great. And, as we said with all our, Eagle Scouts, Girl Scouts, they've all done some great projects for the town and for their organizations in town. We've had, bridges built, benches for the Berlin Fair, trees planted for your church. Just all great stuff. Teaching to be a volunteer, what it means to be a volunteer to help the community, learning that young. And, all of us up here are volunteers, right? Every town committee, commission, we're all volunteers. So it's great to learn that early, to give back to your community. So we congratulate you on that. We'll take one photo here if we can, and then we'll have. Right, great. Congratulations again. Good seeing you again.
Nice to see you again. Congratulations again. So I'll read this and then we'll take a quick snapshot. The State of Connecticut General Assembly, this is an official citation introduced by myself, Donna Veach, District 30, Representative Abercrombie, District 83, and Senator Lopes, also 6th District. Okay. This is in recognition of the highest achievement that the Boy Scouts of America can achieve. And you did a wonderful job. I saw the trees myself. Didn't know about the stone issue, but it really beautifies the area. And it's wonderful to have gentlemen like you do what you do. It's a huge commitment and we really do appreciate it. The personal qualities that have enabled him to meet this goal will serve him well in his future endeavors. Congratulations again. Okay. We wish you much success in the future. Take a quick shot.
Thank you so much for coming. Thanks, Dad, for coming. Oh, that's fine.
Of course.
You're lucky you got another meeting. That's good. Yeah.
Congratulations, Mitchell.
Good night.
Congratulations.
Okay, so next is our audience of citizens. We have anyone that wishes to address the council? Mary Catherine?
I printed, Mary Catherine LaRose, 26 Woodruff Lane, Kensington. I printed off the proposal for the leash law, the leash ordinance. And I don't know, see, you're going to do this later, but I won't be able to talk. So I just thought I'd bring up a couple of things that as I was reading it, I had
Oh, ju-
questions about.
Actually, just, and please speak tonight, but actually what we're doing, that's got to go to a public meeting, actually. So there will be another public.
Right, but the language would have to be the same to go to the public hearing,
Right.
right? Yeah, so that's why I wanted to just bring up a
Oh,
couple.
I got you. Okay, yeah. no.
Okay. So when I was at the ordinance committee meeting the other night, I know that there was a lot of back and forth, and finally it was that they would permit off leash, that all the other areas in town would be under the proposed leash law, and they would allow off leash for 6 months or up to 6 months, I thought, at Bicentennial Park, pending final location for off leash area. But then in this, it doesn't really say that. It just says that off leash will be allowed at Bicentennial for 6 months, and it kind of drops it. So I just wondered what happens after that. And the only other thing I had was at the very end of it, under restraint. The one thing that's not mentioned in there is the invisible fence type thing that people have for their properties. So I don't know if that kind of language you would want to insert, because in my jogging route, I find several, neighbors that have the invisible fence and it works perfectly. I have to hold my dogs from going and seeing their dog in their yard, but so I don't know whether that would be something you'd want to add to that. That's my only thing on that. And the one other thing I was going to talk about, sort of different. I was reading the charter, and I was looking specifically at the 3 sections that deal with the Conservation Commission. And I know that it was discussed, and there's some opinion that the Conservation Commission has the authority, the final authority, it sounded like to me, to determine what would be allowed and what wouldn't be allowed on properties that they are overseeing. But when I read the section 812.2, I see a lot of words may. Now, I went to law school a long time ago, graduated in 1987, and there isn't a whole lot I remember from law school, but I do remember the difference between may and shall. And so may would be you're permitted to, but shall is you will do. So that's my understanding of it. And the other part, and it's in 8, is it still in 8? It's still in 812 too. The second part of it, it talks about an entity that has the authority to delegate to the Conservation Commission. I was just questioning, what is that entity? It would, common sense would tell me it would be the town council, but it doesn't specify who the entity is. So that's my 2 cents for tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the, yes.
Susan Kwasniewski, Kensington Road. I just wanted to say thank you, whatever the outcome. Thank you. It's been a long journey and very interesting and ups and downs. I don't know how this is going to end, but thank you.
Anyone else on any topic? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and just Roche, I mean, we could talk about it when we get to that issue, I guess. I mean, I know we had talked about that invisible fencing at some point when we were talking about the ordinance. So I don't know if, I guess if it's going to a public hearing, a public meeting anyway, right? I would assume we could, if we wanted to make some changes then, rather than go back to the ordinance committee, which I would want to avoid if we could, but
So just some advice from the ACO with what she has seen in the past
yes.
with the invisible fence. Once a dog really charges, they get the jolt, but they are already in the attack zone by then. So, I mean, it works, but not all the time. So there is a risk factor in having that, and they've seen it happen. Just they don't realize when they are going full speed behind to attack someone.
Right.
Just feedback from them.
Okay, and that's fine. We could maybe certainly at that public meeting could have some discussion on that, right? More information on that
Yep.
possibly. I know we did talk about that at one point, adding that in the ordinance, but never got there the other night. And then what didn't we? Is the language in there? And again, we could talk about it at the public meeting. Remember, it's supposed to sunset after.
What we discussed was, and it's written that way, a 6-month period of time from an insert date, because we said we'll leave the dates up to the council to decide
Oh, all right. Okay.
when the date's going. So
Okay.
at some point you have to decide as a council what the exact date would be.
6 months.
Period.
It's from the day we passed that at the night of the meeting.
Right.
Still have, it's 60 days till it takes effect anyway, right?
Yes.
We got to publish
30?
it, right?
30 days, Kate.
30
Yeah.
days.
So-
All right, so we can save this for the public meeting.
Yeah.
Right, and if we needed to make some changes, make it then.
Corporation Council, Jeff, you're there if you want to comment on it.
Sure, you can make changes to it either before it goes to the public hearing, or obviously the purpose of the public hearing is to receive comments from the public, and then the council, based on the comments from the public, can make revisions to it before you take action on it.
Okay.
Who's able to make those changes, Jeff? You said before we go to the public meeting, is it us as a council?
Yes, the council. It's a public hearing. Anytime you adopt, repeal, or modify an ordinance, you have a public hearing prior to the council taking action on adopting any modifications to the ordinance. So once you hear the public comment at the public hearing, if you want to make changes to the ordinance based on the input you receive or based on your own discussion, you can do so prior to adopting the modified ordinance.
Okay, and so that makes sense. We'll hold off till then. We have to have the public meeting anyway, November sometime. So we'll wait on that. So we'd also hold those comments, for then as well. If you want to restate them, that would be fine. Okay, so now we will end that and we'll go to our consent agenda. We just have 2 items on the consent agenda. We have topic 1 is accept monetary donations totaling $3,045 for the Berlin Peck Memorial Library and deposit $3,000, into the Vance Foundation donation account to be used for the purchase of large print books and audiobooks, and deposit $45 into the library agency account to be used for the purchase of books in memory of Myron Pitkin Morgan. That's for the library, of course. And the second topic, approve Berlin High School class of 2025 to sell prepackaged food and beverage at the homecoming dance at Biscoglio Auxiliary Field on Saturday, October 23rd, 2021, from 6 to 9 p.m. That's the Park and Rec. consent items. So go ahead and we've had a chance to review these. We'll go ahead and take a
Hey, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept the 2 consent agenda items.
second on that.
A second.
Any other comments or questions? Council? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business.
I'd like to make a motion to add agenda item number 1A to the agenda. It's a waiver for 100 for Park.
Why don't you just do it for number 15?
15? Okay, we'll do it as number 15. We'll throw it at the end.
Motion, second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. Okay, on to new business.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. First item on the agenda is an update from the Housing Authority on the senior housing project. Chairman Joe Bajorski couldn't be here. Instead, Vice Chair Michelle Insick is here. Give us an update. Practice, considering what I have.
Yes,
So you're not-
Michelle Yurinzik from the Berlin Housing Authority. So you want to hear first on the update? Would you like to hear that
Sure.
first?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Michelle, for coming. Update us.
Oh, you're very welcome. Actually, good evening, everybody, counselors, Mayor.
How are you?
Oh, okay. Okay, so this is what Joe sent me with here. We haven't filed the 4% tax credit application as of yet. Because there's 2 energy sources that are significant, there's significant design changes to the original HVAC concept and requires the addition of partial basements to the structures and locating wellheads and underground piping for the geothermal systems on the site. So that's one of the updates. I think we did not get the CDBG. Did not get that.
Right. I don't think we
Know that.
didn't hear that.
Oh, you didn't?
No. Hence the update tonight. We haven't,
Oh, I thought he.
haven't heard
he
for a while.
said
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
He thought that you knew that, but we did not get that. I believe it was 800,000. We did not get awarded that.
When did we, when we,
He just heard about it actually. Okay, today's Tuesday. Last Wednesday at our housing meeting, he got a phone call.
okay.
And that's when he heard about that. We also have to get new construction estimates, for the project because of those changes. And that would be from Enterprise Builders. So those 2 things need to be completed before we can submit the full application. And he's hoping to have it submitted by the middle of November, hopefully. So you know how this has been going.
Yes.
So that's about it.
That's the tax credit he's applying for, right?
Yes, the 4% tax credit.
Right. Would you know, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot tonight.
For
we do
this,
wanna-
I know because this is his project, but
Yes, we didn't want to hear it. We were anxious for an update. And so by not getting that $800,000 funding, how is that? Do you know how that is?
well, we are looking into other sources. I don't know specifically as to which ones. He didn't give me any specifics on that. I should remember this, correct? But
Because obviously we got to make up that funding.
somehow, yeah. So hopefully, he didn't tell me what specifics we're doing. We did have like people that would contribute money that it could be used as a tax write-off, I can't remember exactly, but you would have to talk to him about that.
Okay, yeah,
It's just been so ongoing that, I'll be honest, I really don't pay attention to that part too much. Off the record, please.
You're on the record now.
It's like 10 years this has been going on, so this is his baby.
I know. Well, no, I know. And again, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you know,
And that's all he sent me. And we didn't even really update Wednesday anything. All I know is for sure we did not get that CDBG. Still working on the tax credit. If there's more information, you have to contact him.
which we can do that.
I mean,
Um,
can you tell me anything
uh,
that you guys might know?
no, that's why, well, no, I mean, we know November was the application date for that
Right.
for the tax credit, so we were just curious what going on, but
Yeah, we're still waiting. So.
as long as it doesn't miss what's the deadline, mid-November, I think it was. Remember, Roche? I remember the deadline for that, but
Yeah, he's hoping to get it in by then.
yeah.
So,
Okay, well, all right, I appreciate you coming. It's,
you probably wanted to hear more on that.
well,
That's all he gave me. He did say he emailed. Did he email? He did email someone. Yeah. I don't know
get an
who.
email? It's the same thing.
Did
Same
he-
thing? Okay, okay,
That was the same thing.
okay. Yeah,
What
we'll,
he gave me.
we'll, get an update, the chairman for next,
It's still whatever updates you probably got before.
Yeah.
Still the same.
yeah, well, yeah, okay. No, that's, I think we're all very frustrated with the senior housing project. It's been forever, and a day,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
I'm not,
Well, we had some obstacles to
yes,
go
we did
over,
have an
hurdles.
obstacle with the easement. I worked through that with Joe. That took a year or two with the state and the easement. Yes, correct. And always had, and to be fair, we've had funding issues with the state who doesn't like calling it senior housing, and it seems like there's one problem after another. I hope, it sounds like we're on the right track where we know we need that 4% tax credit funding. So I hope that's gonna help us. And I think from what I remember, right, some of the last updates we had, that state had maybe changed a little bit in our favor, if I remember, what he said last time he was here a while ago. Again, it seems like the winds are always blowing in a different direction as far as
Right.
funding for, you can't call it senior housing.
No, it
you
has
have
to be
go-
affordable.
Right, affordable, and it just, we're trying to take care of our seniors desperately, and it's, seems like every obstacle that government can throw at us for funding, they do. And all the towns are in the same boat. It's not just Berlin, it's everywhere, so it
Well,
is
it's, we're not all seniors. At both our complexes.
Right.
We have one person that's below the age of 50. The rest are ages 60 up to 90
Okay.
plus. And some have disabilities along with their age. So really not technically like it was years ago. You had to be 62.
Right.
So it has changed a little bit that way. So to really call it senior housing.
And no one wants to call it that anymore, right?
Right, the state apparently changed that. You can't just limit it to senior housing,
Yeah.
so. The other reason I'm here,
Yes.
I cannot, the other reason?
Yes, you have another reason to go, please.
Please,
Thank you for the update, appreciate that.
as best I could give you.
No, that's okay.
I also had a conversation with Representative Beach this past summer about getting a generator for Percival Heights Complex. And that would be to cover all the units, which are 30 units, the main area, the community room there, and also the senior center. Several years back, I'm sure you all remember the outages we had. I've been having this on our agenda for the past 10 years too. They were without power. Percival was without power for about a week. Fortunately, we had a generator that could run the fuel pump to get our heat going but they were without power for a week. And we had people, elderly, some in wheelchairs, some who had no other place to go but there. So my goal is to get a generator for that facility to have power for the whole place. So the senior center could be another place of refuge for the town besides McGee. And our people could stay in place. My goal has always been for our tenants at our facilities. I prefer to see upgrades at all the facilities, which we have been working on diligently, keeping it upgraded. But this is very important to me. Like I said, our tenants several years back, were left without lights. Fortunately, heat, but no lights. So this generator would do the whole complex. I did get quotes. I enclosed the letter to Miss Representative Beach too in this packet. Thank you. The first two are from Northeast Generator Company, and they go from greatest to least in price. Wait till everybody gets one. Northeast Generator gave us a price of $182,160. And the generator equipment is a Kohler 200 kilowatt generator. And then the other specs are below that. The second one from Northeast Generator is a Cummins 150 kilowatt generator. And they quoted that price at $158,441. The next quote is from Kinsley, and they have a Kohler KG 200 generator. That price is comparable to the second price from Northeast, $154,298. And then Tower Generator, I asked for a price for just one generator to do the whole place. He initially gave us price for two separate generators for the two separate entities, but it would be more cost effective, the 100 kilowatt generator to power the senior center and Percival Heights. And that would be anywhere from 109,000 to 117,000. And he's saying, the savings would be anywhere from 27,000 to 31,000, just doing the one generator. So my initial request was to see if there was any monies from the COVID money that Berlin received. This way, if there was another lockdown and if we had another power outage, of course, our tenants could stay in their own home. Not all of them have other places to go, but this way they could stay in their own home. And like I said, if we generated the whole place, it could also be the senior center would be another place of refuge for our town. There are 30 units, a community room, two lavatories or the common area, the hallway, because it was a school, and then the senior center section. And our Marjorie Moore does have a generator in the common area because Marjorie Moore are separate units, separate buildings. So at some point, I would like to get a generator for each of those separate buildings for those tenants, but that can't happen right now. But they do have an area, the common area where the washer, the dryer, there's a refrigerator, all that they could go to if they don't have any power. Keep some foods in the refrigerator, maybe cook there. But Percival Heights, they have nothing if the power goes out again. So I really would appreciate if any of the COVID money could be used towards that, or if you have any ideas how I could get some money. I would really appreciate that. Could reach me, my email is on, all the paperwork. If you have any input, I would greatly appreciate it as to, which venue I should go to, which avenue I should go down for this.
Yeah, no, well, no, we certainly appreciate you coming to the council. It's, I think senior center and senior housing near and dear to our hearts, of course, and I'm sure we can, first time we've seen it, but, Don and I talked about it briefly, but you and I did briefly, but
Mhm.
yeah, we need to look into it. I agree that would make sense to get a generator there. And the COVID money, I mean, I know everybody wants to spend the COVID money, I get it. But it's, there are some different restraints on it, but the
I
way I think we're
understand.
all looking at the COVID money is we're gonna get, what, $6 million total. We got 3 already, we got another 3 next year. You know, we have many projects in town to do.
Right, I
Some,
understand.
but some fit well within the COVID restrictions. So
Right,
if we take that money and use it, so the biggest thing with the COVID money is we've kind of been through this a few times, but we don't want to, if we spend it on a project that's not
COVID related.
acceptable to the government, then we got to pay it back.
Well, that's one,
But what we'll do is, what we can do is if we have the 6 million, we're going to spend it on, one of the ones that comes to mind is the HVAC repairs for the schools, right? That's a no
Yes.
question HVAC,
right.
COVID related. So at 6 million, we don't need to borrow, bond, take out of our rainy day fund. That leaves $6 million for other things, which could be part of, I'm not promising that, but I mean,
No, I
that's how we're
understand.
looking upon it. We could save 6 million on this one, massive HVAC job that we need to do for the school system. We do have another 6 million that we would have had to spend. So we are, it'll all balance it out somehow, which will leave some funding for different things. We looking at a lot of projects that have come to light. One is the, Kensington Fire Department parking lot. That's one that's, the generator here, all very worthwhile and important projects, to the town.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's a possibility, no question.
What are the COVID restrictions? I mean,
Well, there are many. I don't,
there's like, well, if you could shoot me an email what they are, I really,
yeah, we will. So yeah, I mean, there's many and they're still, I don't think they're all finalized yet.
right.
So we have this, start talking about it and,
Even if you couldn't fund the whole thing, say you could fund half.
Yeah.
Our housing authority could come up with the other half, according to the chairman
okay.
and our accountant. We would be able to come up with the other portion, but it would be nice,
Yeah, no, well,
I mean, this affects people.
of course. No, of course. I mean,
No,
it's a very worthwhile.
it's not a
project.
parking lot. It affects, see, my whole life thing has been elderly and kids. I worked in the school system for 23 years with kids. I've worked with elderly, so that's my whole, but thank you for hearing me. And if,
We'll work
I
on
hope
it.
one of you will get in touch with me, shoot me a quick email. Let me
Sure.
just know what's going on or what I need to do to further this.
Sure, we can figure something out. It's a
Thank you very
worthwhile
much.
project that we should fund at a minimum partially, if not the whole thing.
Oh, that would be
We'll work on it.
heaven.
Work on
Thank
it.
you very much. I
Thank you for
appreciate
coming.
you listening. Thank you.
Okay, number two. Moving along. 2.
Thank you, Michelle. Agenda item number 2 is a police chief agreement. And I believe Mr. Wilson is here to talk about it. Not answer any questions you may have.
So,
Council.
yeah, I mean, we know, obviously, we chose a new police chief. I know, Denise, Rita Nafrio, Vice Chair Wilson, Chairman Esch, worked on this contract and have talked about it and reviewed it. Just whoever wants to give it, could be Jeff, perhaps you or Denise or whoever, just give us a kind of a brief overview of it. We've looked at it. It's in our packet. We've looked at it. Can you tell us about the contract?
Sure. It's a pretty typical senior management contract. The terms were provided to me by the town, obviously. So the duration of the contract is a 1-year contract commencing November 1, terminating October 31 of 2022. It's the first year is considered to be a probationary period. The police chief's duties are, as you would expect them to be, there's a residency requirement that requires the chief establish his primary residence in Berlin within 1 year, unless the police commission issues a waiver or extension. There's a performance goal paragraph 6, that identifies meetings of at least once per month during that 1-year initial term to discuss and assess the chief's performance. The compensation, the salary is in paragraph 7, and the benefits are typical senior management benefits. That's in page 3 under section 7B. There's some pretty standard language, statutory language with respect to the chief submitting to a comprehensive medical exam on an annual basis, including prior to the effective date of this contract. The termination language that's in paragraph 9. There's a statute, Connecticut General Statute 7-278, which gives police chiefs certain due process rights. Basically, you can only terminate them for just cause following due process. There's also some language in here about the opportunity for the town to terminate the agreement in the event that the chief is permanently disabled. This is language on page 4 that defines what permanent disability means. There's a half a dozen or so pretty standard provisions in paragraphs 10 through 14, the most significant of which is that if there's any dispute between the parties arising out of or relating to the employment agreement, either party can submit that dispute to arbitration. And likewise, there's a statutory indemnification provision that just runs parallel to the Connecticut General Statute's obligation to indemnify and hold a police chief harmless from and against claims arising in the course of performance of his duties. So it's a pretty straightforward contract, pretty straightforward terms, nothing really unusual about it.
Thanks, Jeff. Just one question on this. I have a couple of questions and then open to the council. That residency, and it's, I guess, whatever we want it to be, but as I recall with Roche's contract, I want to say it said established domicile, maybe? Does that ring a bell, Jeff? Remember we had some
No. What it is that we had a discussion in the context of the town manager's contract, both the current town manager and the prior town manager, about the difference between domicile and residency.
Okay, yes.
And the differentiation is the domicile is where you intend to reside permanently. So you can have more than one residence, but you can only have one domicile. So that, I wasn't involved in any of the negotiations with the chief, so I don't know what was said about that particular requirement. This language that's in paragraph 5 on page 2 of the agreement was given to me by the town for inclusion in the contract.
Okay, no, that explains that. That's and I have, so one other question. So, right, there are some, Mr. Wilson or Denise or Jeff, whoever, right? So there's some requirements he needs to complete before, I guess there is a probationary period, I know in here, but there's before, I don't know what the right word is, actually ratified by us, right? There's, right, a background, polygraph, psychological, which I know have been scheduled, some have been done, I believe. Mr. Wilson, yeah, if you want to enlighten us on what stage we're in.
We have a whole list of things the state requires us for him to do before he becomes official. Most of those are done, polygraph, fingerprint, background checks ongoing right now. There's a psychological he's got to do. Those are all backed up because of the police accountability law. There's only a limited number of guys in the state that can administer that. But the state gives us 182 days from his hire date to get that done. One caveat I had, that medical exam also we have, that will not be done before 11/1. It'll be done early in the probationary period.
Okay.
Again, a lot of those police specific things, the limited number of vendors that actually do those background checks, psychological testing and all that stuff it's really a tough process, and everyone in the state is dealing with it right now.
So maybe Jeff, Attorney DiNapoli, how does that affect what we do tonight? What do we?
Well, the psych eval, like Mr. Wilson said, that the state gives us some latitude to get that completed. But if the medical exam is not going to be, it doesn't really affect this because the language is that he'll submit to a comprehensive medical exam in each year prior to the effective date. So, if it's in process and if it's not complied with, then we'll deal with it in the next, in the next month or so. But that's fine. I mean, it doesn't hold anything up.
Okay, so those are just my issues.
Yeah, we'll get it all done, and we've pulled a lot of strings, and a lot of it's happening faster than the Pequot chief and everybody else, but we just can't get it all done by 11/1.
No, understood. So my fellow council members, questions for Mr. Wilson, D'Onofrio, or Denise? Questions on the contract?
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Peter.
What's the rush?
Yes, it does. It seems premature to me.
We can't get it done by 11/1. Should we just wait until we get it done?
That way.
182 days.
Well, not so much that. Obviously, they gave us 180 days for psychological. He said he's going to get it done, at the beginning of the probationary period. We can. That's why he gets it done and then start the probationary. I just think it's safe, for us to cover the town.
I mean, he's a certified police officer in Danbury now for duty, I assume. Warrant officer. So, I would think if there's any medical issue, we would know that already. Certainly the exam would highlight that if necessary. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree in principle with it. If he wasn't already a certified officer working, I would agree. Probably if he was not on the job now, or was not a police officer anywhere, that might be an issue. I'm not sure that matters because he is working somewhere else, obviously, and most police departments have obviously medical exams, otherwise he would be fit for duty.
It would matter to me because he's gonna be my police chief. No, and I really want to make sure that we have this, but he's a very important person in this town. And I wanna make
No
sure
doubt.
We are definitely making, we're buttoned up and we're,
Oh, and I don't mean to say it doesn't matter. It matters, but the point is he's working in the city of Danbury as a certified healthy police officer, or he wouldn't be on the job in the first place. Wouldn't be there. They have the same requirements every department has. They go through physicals all the time. Otherwise, they wouldn't be allowed to perform their duties. So I don't know what that would accomplish. But I hear your point.
I mean, we don't know when his last physical was. We don't know when his last psych eval was. There are things that can happen in the interim.
True.
Hmm?
And if
He's had a medical background check and a psych all in the last 5 years, which are all considered current. He just has to retake them because he's changing department. So had he stayed in Danbury, though, he would be completely current with the post requirements. He's just required to take them over during the probationary period of us hiring him because he changed agencies. That's just how the law is written.
yeah, okay, yeah, no, and we are trying to follow post requirements. That's who certifies our police officers from chief on down. So and he's going to be on probation. So obviously, if you can't pass the medical, can't pass the psych, probation's over, and we're back to the drawing board. But point taken, no doubt. What is any other comments? I appreciate that, Mike. It's certainly worth talking about, of course.
Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, Peter.
I hate to rehash history, but 40 some odd years ago, we had a supernumerary have himself appointed as chief of police on a Friday night. And by Tuesday, he had to resign. And, I don't want to repeat history here. And my question is, what's the hurry? I don't understand why we can't wait for the background check, the psych check, and the medical check. Am I missing something that we have to do it tonight?
And with all due respect, 40 years ago, supernumerary, I'm guessing, from what I know, law enforcement standards 40 years ago, there wasn't too many standards. I don't know which one he didn't fit into, but today, I mean, with the, certifications that police officers need, quite extensive. And, I highly doubt Danbury, I've worked with Danbury Police Department many times, highly respected department. He's certified to do his job. He wouldn't be there if he wasn't. But I understand that. The rush, no rush. Why do we wait? What are we waiting for? If he's on
Well, we're
probation.
waiting for the background check and the psych and the
Right.
medical.
But on any probationary employee, anybody, not even a police officer in town, I mean, if things come up that, they're hired and find something that is certainly not suitable under the contract or under the job description, no, obviously they're immediately gone. And if post, and, I put a lot of weight into the police officers' standard, their training, because that's what they do. So if they're giving us 182 days to get his psych done because he's changing departments, they certainly understand with the towns and, there's always chiefs moving around from department to department. It would tie up everything. Hence, that's why especially if someone's already certified under their standards, they have to be retested only because they're moving. I mean, if there was a question of, something that came up on the job, different story, agree 100%. But I don't know why we would wait. It's a probationary position.
Well,
he recognizes that as well.
We're not hiring a dog catcher here. We're hiring the chief of police.
Understood.
And I think it's incumbent, and I don't know the gentleman. He's probably fine. I have no problem.
Oh, I
However,
get it.
I just don't see the need to do it tonight. I mean,
Yeah.
we have another meeting coming up. Everything should be in by then. What's the rush?
Well, the site could be months. apparently, because there's only a few qualified people that do it. And I guess with the Accountability Act and the things that they have to do now, I mean, they're not, they don't, the psych exam is certainly is just not for chiefs of police. There's, all the officers got to go through that. So I know there's a limit.
Mr. Mayor, we did have unofficially the state police run all these tests, except obviously the medical they can't do.
Okay.
He has cleared all these things unofficially, and we're just using the certified individuals now that will submit the paperwork that post will accept, but the state police have cleared him for this job.
Okay.
Well, then let's wait for that paperwork to catch up with us. I mean, I'd feel much better voting with the knowledge of everything that's going on, that everything's fine. And if it is fine, what's another 2 or 3 weeks? I don't understand.
What does the rest of the council say?
Well, Mr. Vice Chair, how long is this? How many days has this been out there? I mean, his name's out there. I mean, his department knows that he's got an offer. The public knows he can.
Well,
go on.
everybody knows.
You guys have done your job. and
John Kleck gave us his resignation July 1st. We have an acting chief. The police commission would like to get our new chief in there and get him to work. And obviously, if any of these oddball loose ends cause an issue, we have escape clauses in that contract to correct it, but I don't anticipate that is going to be an issue at all.
When you say the police commission, I don't know if that includes all of the police commission. I don't think that this process was particularly transparent from the beginning, and there's some that weren't included in it.
Well, that's actually not accurate, but
Well,
we
No, I believe
did not
it
have a
is.
majority vote on this guy. That's true.
I can't hear Donna.
What does that mean? It's out there.
Well, I would say that where he's currently working, they're aware that he has been offered a position here in Berlin.
But what does that have to do with anything? I don't understand.
The same, they know that he's been offered a position in another department. I think that we need to move forward. If there's an issue, then we pull the contract and we don't move forward.
I don't think that really has any bearing on anything, but
I think it does.
I don't.
Police commission's an elected board. Someone has an issue, any facts that show me the process was flawed, I'd like to hear it. Other than that, I'd like to move forward. I don't see an advantage in waiting because we do have the escape clauses. I think our department needs to be reformed around the new chief. And to be fair to this gentleman that's switching jobs, if it took 3 months to get this final paperwork from the state, it's not fair to him to be without a job in that time. I see no advantage of waiting. Someone can show me what exactly was flawed in the process. Let's move forward.
Just the process for a moment, for that to be called into question again. The whole process was vetted by Attorney D'Onofrio throughout the process. In fact, the people that had complaints about the process, from what I understand, were spoken to directly. Attorney D'Onofrio, and assured that the process was fair process. I still haven't heard, although I've seen on social media, nonsense out there about it. But I've seen nothing. And if the council, if there is someone to bring something to bring forward, bring it forward. But I've seen nothing that would taint the process at all, nor has our town attorney, who I trust, vetted the process as he has told me when I saw some of these statements out there that, quite frankly, were, I think, politically driven. I'm sorry, and I want to bring it up, but I have to because it's been vetted.
Oh, I think there were things that were politically driven. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, it's not well, I don't know what side you're talking about, but the process is vetted. I don't understand what are the What's the problem with the process? Bring it forward. If you have anything, I'd like to hear it right now. Sure. Come on up to the podium. Might as well just settle this tonight. Tired of it being out there.
Ryan Zellick, police commissioner in town for 10 years now.
Right.
My problem was apparently the chief resigned on July 1st and a job was posted on July 6th. I was not told of the chief's retirement till July 14th. As a 10-year commissioner, why was I not told of the chief's retirement? The job posted. I still haven't seen the job posting. I don't know what it said, what qualifications were. Went through this rush process. We have a perfectly capable 27-year veteran of the department. I don't know why we had to overlook him. I don't know why we need to reform the police department. I think we have a great department. I don't know what's wrong with it. So to hear that, it's very concerning to me. That's what I have so far. But
Listen, I'll ask Attorney D'Onofrio. I believe he explained the process. Less Jeff to step in, but I know it was explained. And again, you guys are your own entity, certainly. You're elected officials like we are, and that's what you're charged with. I
and then
get
the
that.
town charter says the police commission has authority over the police department. Why is the town council voting on the employment agreement?
Because we have to vote for the appropriations of it. You can't spend money on the police department. It's like you can't buy patrol cars without us voting for the patrol cars.
And you're okay giving this new chief a 20,000 higher starting salary than the previous chief?
Experience. That's what the contract that came to us.
The contract also said it was negotiated by the police commission, which I was not a part of. So
The
first
majority,
paragraph,
the majority vote on it. I don't know how it
I
got.
don't believe, I don't know, unless they had a secret meeting I was not aware of.
I don't know that part of it, but
Just my concerns.
no, I understand your concerns. I don't know. I mean, you tell me. Were you involved in all the interviews of all the candidates?
Yes, when we were notified, the first time they just scheduled them without asking us, and then luckily we got them fixed. But when it came time to vote for new chief, they knew one of the members couldn't make it, and they still moved forward with the meeting. Something that important, all 5 members of the commission should be there.
You all voted on the chief though? This
No.
election?
Only 4 were able to attend the meeting.
Obviously, you're not happy with the choice, from what I gather. As you just said, we had a qualified.
Yeah, we do.
Well, I mean, and I don't take anything away from Chief Susi whatsoever. And I spoke to him the night at Chief Klett's retirement about it, and it's nothing to be taken away from him. But listen, it's the police commission's decision. Obviously, the requirement, the qualifications I've seen from Chief McNally are, impressive, and obviously he appears to me anyway, again, just looking at it from our vantage point as far as the contract goes. You've gone outside the department before. Were you there when we went out with?
That's before my time.
Before
Well,
your
he was
time.
the chief while I was there, but
Yeah, okay.
wasn't there when we.
So, I mean, we've gone outside before, and it's not that unusual in my experience in 30 years in law enforcement, working with departments all over the country. I mean, Los Angeles PD hired Chief Bratton from New York to run the LAPD. LAPD, 10,000, people, and, deputy chiefs and everybody. So that's, many times that's what happens. That,
This
as
is
you know,
This is Berlin. I think we're proud of our department.
well, yeah, it's Berlin, but it's still law enforcement, and Farmington. I could name a half a dozen departments that have gone outside, have stayed inside. And we went outside apparently before, and this is just, I'm not getting specifically at this case, but went outside with Chief Fitzgerald, we went inside with Chief Klett. Apparently a decision of the majority in the police commission was to go outside this time. It's not unusual at all. And it doesn't, again, I'm just giving my experience in law
Well, it
enforcement.
was never voted on to go outside, so by the entire commission.
Did do you not know they were going outside?
No, I had no idea the job was posted till after the fact. No.
I can't speak to that.
Is that untrue?
But Steve, yeah, if Mr. Wilson, if you have any,
It wasn't a decision made to go outside. It was a decision to take the application inside and outside. Internal applicant, seven external. Never a decision we had to go outside.
It was never a decision.
oh, when you take applicants from inside and outside, I would hope pick, but the majority thinks is the best qualified applicant. I mean, again, I can't speak to that because I didn't do the interviews, but you know, that's all I could say. It doesn't. We took applicants from inside and outside, which me pretty appropriate in every chief search I've been involved in. I applied for some chief jobs myself when I retired from DEA, so it's pretty normal
Well, I
town
have
to
no
do
problem
that.
with that, but it should have been a decision as a commission, not as,
to pick an outside chief or to go outside.
start with the process.
Yeah.
You know, in general.
I mean, what
Why shouldn't all commissioners be included in that discussion?
I don't. I mean, I can't answer that. I only can ask were they all included. If they weren't. I don't know. But I mean,
I don't know, and I don't know why you were notified that resign. You didn't resign to me. Exactly what the chairman told me. Never takes a job. I don't know how everyone else.
advertising the job is not picking a chief. That's advertising the job. And you know, I hear what you're saying, Ryan. I don't. You know, if they didn't tell you. I mean,
If it was just more transparent from the beginning, I wouldn't have a problem, but it just wasn't transparent.
I could tell you as the mayor of the town, many days I wake up and I get a phone call and something was said, you know, 3 days ago about something happened in the town and I have no clue what happened. Happens all the time. I'm not happy with it either. I feel your pain, believe me, with many things, but and some are serious things and I don't know about it. And
But you're talking about a small commission versus
granted,
entire town.
well, it shouldn't make any difference. The one, you know, it doesn't make any difference. I mean, everyone, you know, should be notified as fast as possible. I don't disagree with you. But if you weren't notified, the process began, you know, I mean, yeah, not the best way to run things. I will grant you that, but the process began. So we sent out an application for chief, whether it's internal or, you know, both. And that's a healthy thing to do for any department. It's actually very healthy to do, especially for smaller departments, because I think and I'm not saying Berlin's a fabulous police department. Please don't get me wrong with my comments. We've got hardworking men and women and they do a great job. But, you know,
Well,
yeah.
the morale down there is pretty low right now, so.
Well, from who? Because I'm interested in that too.
I saw your meeting minutes from last meeting where you said the union supported this candidate. But
Yeah.
I have a letter from the union stating otherwise. So,
Really?
yeah.
Because both union reps spoke to me
I'd like to
separately.
submit it for the minutes.
Yeah, I'd like to see that because that's not what I hear. In fact, when Ryan, in fact, when the chief was chosen, I got a call from the union president who was very accepting of this choice. So you know, I guess we're getting mixed signals here, people, which seems to happen a lot. It happened a lot today too, earlier today from different people running for office. Okay, 9/2/21. I'll read it. Berlin Police Commission, Berlin Police Union believes it's critical to take advantage of promotion opportunities for our membership. When a qualified candidate exists within our department, we feel it is vital for that candidate to receive all proper consideration to be promoted over external candidates. Promotional opportunities at the rank of chief have a positive impact on our membership, including cascading promotions for all qualified union members. Therefore, the Berlin Police Department has assembled and concluded it would be best for our membership for an internal candidate to be promoted to chief of police. So promoted to the chief of police. So they asked this on 9/2. When just the timeline. I don't know the timeline. When
That's when we were
Choice.
in the process of interviewing.
so this was during the interview process. Okay. So that's their opinion, and that they're entitled to their opinion, of course. That's when did we choose the chief? I don't know the dates offhand. When did we pick the chief? The date? Curiosity. What is it? 2 weeks ago. so well after this letter. And I understand what they're saying too, and that's, you know, that's their thought. Um, That certainly wasn't a thought I got from the union reps after the selection, I could tell you that. And, you know, I mean, it's the police commissions. I mean, we're kind of in a weird spot here as the council. You know, it's hard to, I mean, listen, I got a lot of phone calls too, both ways. And, no, it's not our decision because we didn't interview everybody, right? So it's very hard. We can't sit here, which is why we're only ratifying a contract. We're not second guessing who was chosen because we don't have that, experience, obviously. We didn't go through the interviews. So,
Well, my last comment, I just urge you to finish the background process and everything, because we wouldn't hire a normal candidate without that being complete. And for somebody that's going to be leading our department, that process should be completed, in my opinion.
point taken on that, but just to finish that, I've heard no objections from the union on the choice that the police commission made. Date. And not even from any individual officers either. I imagine that as in any organization, the police department, the town hall, you know, Google, Travelers Corporation, you name it, people are not happy with what boss gets chosen. Right? We all know that. We've all been there. We've all played second fiddle to not get promoted to. So you know, I understand it. I mean, some people, and again, I don't, you know, and I told Chief Susi this, Deputy Chief Susi this, I said, no one's taken anything away from Deputy Chief Susi. He's done a fine job. He's the deputy chief in Berlin, and he will remain there if he stays. If he wants to, it's up to him. Of course, he's going to stay. We spoke about it. It's not everybody's choice. I understand. I can only stand on what the police commission voted. I know not everybody voted unanimously, and we, you know, even on the council, we try to do that here. Doesn't always work out. But like, I just, again, we're looking at the contract, looking at the gentleman's background. You know, if the police commission said he's the best qualified at this point in time, I don't know how we could challenge that because it was a legal vote by the commission, right? I mean, we'd be trying to challenge, and you know, he may not be.
I'm not challenging that. I'm just
Well, I mean, but we're
transparency of the process.
we're challenging the process, right? That the process was flawed somehow. And if everybody was involved in the interviews, and you know, I get everybody had their own candidate they wanted. That's every day we pick candidates for a job, even town jobs, that happens, right? But you know, the union doesn't get to pick who the chief is. The town employees don't get to pick who the town manager is or who the finance director is. And you know, I mean, I want to hear you out, and I always give everyone the opportunity to speak. I appreciate you speaking, you know.
Thank you for letting me. I was concerned about you letting me speak because I wasn't allowed to speak at the last commission meeting when we voted. So
Again,
unfortunate.
I can't speak for their meeting, you know, I can only speak for here, but I mean, I don't know, just from looking outside, we're looking at the contract, you know, seems to be what a fair contract would be. And that's really what we're looking at as far as the candidate. He's a certified police officer with, you know, command experience, and, you know, looking at his resume after the selection, is very well qualified for the position. Not saying he's, you know, better or worse than who we have internally. That's not really what the choice is. It's we think is best for the job at this time. Not me, police commission.
You
your
keep
guys'.
saying we. Is it you or the police commission?
I'm meaning the town. I'm meaning the town. Police commission. What are you trying to insinuate now? Come on. We're
Hold
not
on,
going
you
to do
just-
this, are we here? This is not right. I'm sorry, but I'm giving you,
I'm done talking. I'm good.
and now I say we is the town collectively, okay? And it is the police commission individually.
Thanks, Ryan.
I mean, that's unbelievable. You guys are unbelievable, all right? The process is vetted.
Wow, you guys are unbelievable.
Yeah,
Come on.
well, you are.
You guys.
Well, it's on your social media pages about how bad this was.
I don't,
I'm
not on my
sorry.
social media page.
Not on mine.
The
What,
town,
really, Mark, can we
whatever.
stop?
Yeah, I agree. Let's stop.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you very much.
One more,
Yes.
with the chief thing.
There's no grand conspiracy theory here, please. Let's.
Just one other point of order. When the police commission used to not be this partisan. Last time the Democrats had control, we elected unanimously a Republican vice chairman, and
Okay.
it was vice versa before that. And then this latest regime ended that. So I'm not sure why, but it was a nice thing we had the last 8 years, and I'm not sure what changed that, but something to think about.
Thank you again, Ryan.
Thanks
I
so much.
appreciate your
time, right?
thoughts. Yes, certainly. Yes.
We had one or two of the outside applicants drop out, but I think in total we had 7 or 8, counting the 2 internal ones. All 5 people on the police commission got to meet with every applicant in front of everybody else. Everyone was given time to ask all the questions they wanted of every single applicant. And after everyone asked their questions, they were given an opportunity to talk to everybody again. We did that all in a course of 1 week. We did 2 people a night for like 4 consecutive nights. Then we got together and we did straw polls. And well, the first thing we did is we all selected who the top 3 candidates were. Then we got together on a separate meeting just to talk about how we would vote and pick one of these 3 people. We did straw polls because I specifically wanted either a 5-0 vote or a 4-1 vote. We went round and round and round. There were 2 people that kept winning 3-2, and there was 1 person that kept losing 3-2. So it was not partisan because we could have 2 different nights, we could have picked a police chief, and we didn't do it. And I asked people to go home and think about these people and think about compromising. And I asked everybody to do that. We could have had this done 6 weeks ago, but we didn't, because I wanted people to think about, I wanted someone on one side to cross over and have a 4-1 vote. And it became apparent we couldn't get there. And I didn't think it was political. I don't know the politics of any of those people that applied. Nobody ever asked them what party they were in, and I don't know, and I don't care. We asked them all kinds of questions about law enforcement, about management, about union relations, about the Police Accountability Act, about equity and diversity and all that stuff. That's all we talked to these people about. Nobody asked any of these guys their politics. When it became clear we were not going to get a 4-1 or 5-0 vote, then we scheduled the official vote and we did it. And this guy won 3-2. For anyone to have the impression that this was Republican chief or a Democrat chief or any of that stuff. That was not the case. And we spent several meetings going home without calling a real vote because the vote wasn't not more than 3-2 for any one person. So I wouldn't let the vote happen. I don't know what more we could have done. And this guy's getting $10,000 more than Clett, not 20. Just to correct the record.
Why is he getting 10,000 more?
We looked at 25 chief salaries in the surrounding towns and what he was making in Danbury, and came up with what we thought was a fair salary that made it attractive to him to switch jobs to come to Berlin.
Don't you usually come in at a base level?
What do you mean by that?
In other words, you start where a chief starts. You don't start above the current chief.
I don't know how to, I'm not sure I understand your question.
I do. Well, just Mark, just in general, I don't feel comfortable voting on this without the background check and all the other stuff that's been going on. I see no reason why we can't hang on to this and do it at a later date.
No, I hear you. Mentioned the other stuff going on. I'm not sure what the other stuff going on is. I mean, I know what I mentioned, what I have seen out in the public, which is interesting, but it's nothing nothing I've seen or heard from anyone internally or externally would point to any issues. Although I do find it odd that we had a request for some information before the chief was even picked, I guess questioning the process. I found that odd that someone requested information before we even knew who the chief would be. That I find very odd, that information, because what I've heard, everyone says, oh, information leaked out of there. Well, if it leaked out, I guess I know where it leaked to. And that's documented in our town email, but that was disturbing right there. So I want to know what's disturbing. But I don't know what else is disturbing with the process, the selection, with the qualification, with everybody interviewing. All the candidates, outside candidates, of course, inside candidates. I mean, I don't really know what else we would have done to pick our latest chief of police. I wish somebody would really tell me, because I don't hear it. And Peter, you have your concerns about ratifying the contract. I get that, but as far as the process, I just don't see it. I'm sorry. And I try to let everyone speak tonight to see what everyone's talking about, but I don't see anything. I don't see a problem with the process. That's how the process is supposed to work. Should put our best in Berlin up against other departments to see who is the best qualified to lead our town forward. And again, nothing against the men and women of the Berlin Police Department. They will have ample opportunities forward to rise up in the department. They always do. I mean, I guess you could make the same argument. Why did you hire a police officer from another town and make them the sergeant and not promote somebody from within? That happens all the time in Berlin and every other department. So, the argument goes a lot of different ways. It doesn't just apply to one particular job. Okay, we've beaten this to death, but I think it was important to speak about it.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
if I may,
yes,
just a factual correction on the salary.
yes.
The reference is 4,800. What was in the budget for chief versus it's offered. So it's not, I say that because at some point I need to bring you a budget transfer into the Board of Finance. It's 4,807, the actual difference annualized.
Okay, so it's only 4,800. Not what, 20,000, 10,000,
No.
4,800 now. Keeps going down.
Yeah, 138, 193 versus 140.
Okay,
Thanks for
what I have.
clarifying.
it's interesting in itself. Okay. All right. Well, we've all had our chances to speak, and that's the fair thing to do. We don't all agree. I get it. So we're sitting here with the contract. Gotta take a vote. So we would, what are we calling this? I mean, obviously we approve it, but of course it's probationary, right? I mean, I just want to make sure maybe Attorney D'Onofrio, just to make a motion, what would we say? And then we'll take a vote. How would we?
It's just as it appears on the agenda. It's a motion to approve the employment agreement between the town and Chief McNally to be executed upon the successful completion of the background requirements.
So we'll go ahead and make that motion.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I'll move to approve the employment agreement between the town of Berlin and Matthew McNally to be executed upon the successful completion of the background requirements.
A second on that.
I second it.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion on the floor now. Are there any further comments from anyone? Not hearing any. We'll take the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much for all your participation. I appreciate all your comments. I think it's important that we did speak about it. Agenda item 3.
Agenda item number 3, Mr. Mayor, you had requested that we share with you COVID protocols, and each HR director is here to give you a quick recap and give you an opportunity to ask questions. Denise, you're on.
Hey, Denise.
Good evening, everybody. So I just wanted to give you a brief overview of where we are with our COVID protocols with our town staff. They have changed several times over the last year and a half. We've issued probably 12 different updates to the version, trying to be in compliance with the governor's orders and mandates that were given to us. The most recent COVID protocols were issued to staff last Friday, October 15th, and they included requirements related to staff travel. Prior to the October 15th version of our protocols, we were mandating that all staff follow the CDC guidelines, which required unvaccinated folks to quarantine following out-of-state travel. We are still asking folks to follow that CDC guideline, but it is a recommendation going further after October 15th. So that is in the updated protocol. In addition to that, we have language in there that talks about protocols following a COVID exposure. So based on the CD guidelines, there are different protocols for those that are vaccinated and those that are not vaccinated. Currently, if you are vaccinated and you are exposed a direct contact to someone with COVID-19, you do not have to quarantine. It is recommended that you wear a mask for a 14-day period or get tested within 3 to 5 days and continue wearing a mask until you get a negative test result if you are vaccinated. If you are not vaccinated and you are exposed to COVID as a direct contact, you are required to quarantine at home for a period of 7 days. If you get a test after 3 to 5 days, you stay home for 7 days. If you do not test, you're supposed to stay home for 10 days. And so those protocols are listed in our most current letter. And then we also have protocols following a positive test. So if you do test positive for COVID, the protocols are the same, whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. You're required to stay home for 10 days from the date of the positive COVID test or 10 days from the onset of symptoms. So if your symptoms start on a Wednesday and you don't get your test till Friday, your 10-day quarantine starts on that Wednesday as day 0 and you count 10 days out from there. So those are our current protocols with regards to travel and COVID exposures. And then also, something you may have heard about is last week we sent out a memo to all staff based on the president's notice to us that he's requiring that employers with 100 or more employees mandate vaccinations or testing protocols for staff. That was announced in September. We are waiting for OSHA to give us those emergency orders and what they will look like, but we anticipate that we're going to have to comply with that. So in order to get ahead of that curve, we are requiring that staff provide us with their vaccination status now. So we're collecting that data from all staff. We ran a payroll report. It included all of our regular full-time and part-time staff, along with part-time commission secretaries, seasonal employees, anyone working for Parks and Rec. We're mandating everybody provide us with their vaccination status so we know what we're looking at when we get those OSHA guidelines in terms of the testing protocols. And that's where we are in a nutshell, if anyone has any questions.
Fun time, Denise, I'm sure.
Well, I'll tell you, collecting the vaccines now, after what we went through on the Board of Ed side, it was a mad rush and a lot of work. Getting this step done, it will make whatever comes next a lot easier to manage.
Oh, that's fine. No, and I appreciate it. I know it's a difficult area. It's, things are changing every day, protocols and different opinions. So it's very difficult. So I appreciate you updating us. On this, just a question really on the town policy today, because as we went to the senior center for our function there, so masks are required for everyone. Is that I was surprised to see that on the door. I mean, I'm all for protecting our seniors. I know they're 100% vaccinated, but I thought our town policy was that's not the town policy, is it?
So first of all, there was some vandalism probably a couple of weeks ago. All signs were removed from all town buildings. Somebody did that. I don't know who did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You mean like inside on the doors?
But it just, there were no signs because I remember senior called from the senior center who had called and said, he was disturbed that didn't have signs.
Yeah.
People are walking around without masks. I said, well, we're following CDC guidelines, which just say you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask inside, but we're highly.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you're not vaccinated, you have to wear a mask inside. So we'll put those signs again, but I don't know who put something different in the senior center. That's news to me.
It was on the door today.
Oh.
Does the library have the same sign too?
Yep.
I think that the library, the community center, and the senior center have all continued to require mask wearing. The community center and the library primarily because they service children who can't get vaccinated. So in order to protect those patrons, they've asked all patrons to wear their masks. And I think Tina had it at the senior center for the same reason, to protect the seniors.
So, but when we, and you know, it is what it is, but when we discussed this town policy,
Yeah.
it was,
Shouldn't be there.
right? I mean, that's what we discussed and agreed upon.
We're following the CDC guidelines. It's just what I mentioned. That's what will be posted on our door after somebody ripped it off.
Yeah, okay.
Back
no,
again tomorrow, and I'll have the same signs at the seniors, and I don't know why senior center decided they're gonna put a mandatory sign. It is, you look at the CDC guidelines, that's exactly what we have followed right throughout, and we should continue to do that because none of us are public health experts.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, no, I agree. I just, because
Yeah.
we had that to just try and make it as consistent as possible in the town buildings, and we know Board of Ed is their own, it's a whole different animal, but yeah, that's all. I just
Yeah, I'll
mentioned
follow
that
up
because
on
I happened to see it today. If I didn't go there, I wouldn't have seen it, but yeah, as long as we're consistent, and I guess Denise, so that latest letter you sent out, did I see something from I guess it was, well, we're on the police department. Let's go to so the police department, are they upset about the vaccination
I met
election or being vaccinated? Or I think I thought I saw something from the union they put out.
I met with the police president last Friday afternoon. We did get something from their union. The president apologized that came prior to him coming and talking to me, and our conversation ended very nicely, and he told me to disregard the letter because we were updating. Their primary concern was the travel protocol that required the quarantine. And once he found out that was going away, he said he thought that the rest of the issues would go away as well. We do have the legal right under the EEOC to require staff to provide us with their vaccination status. We checked with our attorneys before we issued that request to come in to make sure we were legally compliant. So I think the concern from the union was you're requiring me to not travel or to quarantine, and the CDC was just recommending the quarantine. So we did change our policy to recommend.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate you clearing it up. I think it was confusing for everyone, and I appreciate, we get on the same page. It's great, and I'm glad it all worked out with the police and the union. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, I appreciate the update. Where are we at, number 4 now?
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
And item number 4 is the authorization for the town manager to submit a state brownfield grant application for on 43 Percival Avenue property. I think Jim Mahoney,
Yes.
yours.
How's everybody doing? So
How we doing, Jim?
the as reported earlier, we found out last week that we did not get the grant, CDBG grant, to demo the former Knights of Columbus building, and that grant would have also done utility work on the site. And there was an opportunity to apply for state brownfields grant for just to demo the building and to do the hazardous material abatement and demo the building. And so we thought we'd take advantage of that opportunity and ask for your permission to apply for the grant. I would also say, just to comment on the earlier conversation, just to let everybody know that we did not get the grant, but all of the CDBG projects that were funded, there were 6 of them in the state, and they were all for rehabilitation of existing housing units, which is their priority. So ours related to a new construction, and so we weren't successful.
I'm glad you answered that question. Thank you for that. That was the question I'm sure we all had, why we didn't get it. So that's too bad. But we have another choice here, I see, right? Another possibility.
Get us partway there.
Yeah.
It would be
So
good progress.
this would be, what would this be? Is this grant would be the same amount, or how do we know?
No, I'm getting estimates now. I think I think it's gonna be about 160,000. So we would just be doing the hazardous material abatement and the demo of the building, not any, site utility work.
Any thoughts on where else we would go for other grants to fill in the gap?
Again, I think we'll wait, we'll wait for Mr. Bajorski to report at an upcoming meeting.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Bajorski's online. I was able to.
Oh, he's there.
Oh, all right, there we go.
All right. So what was the question? I was not able to see Bill's presentation.
Well, we obviously, Joe, we're upset at not, as you are, I mean, we all are, not getting the $800,000 grant that we were looking for. And then we just want an update on the process for your application for the tax credit, the 4% tax credit. And, Michelle explained that to us, that you're still working on that.
Yes.
So now, just with this issue about the other grant, I was just asking Jim, if you didn't hear the very beginning of it, how would we, how do we plan on filling in the gap from the, whatever this grant is, let's say 200 grand, we're 600 short on.
So basically at this point, we have committed $26 million out of a $33 million project. The balance of the money is coming from the 4% low-income housing tax credit. There's going to be monies plus and minus as we move forward. The 800,000 that would have come from the community development block grant is one of those minuses. We'll either make that money up through other grant sources, similar to the brownfield remediation that Jim Mahoney brought forward, or other sources that the state of Connecticut has. We are in the process of completing a pre-application for the 4% tax credit, which we'll be filing shortly. We anticipate having the full application ready to go for the middle of November, but that depends upon architects and engineers, and they're working to get those plans completed. But anyways, we're going to be submitting a pre-application. I apologize. We're going to be submitting an application, most likely a pre-application, which will set up a meeting with Department of Housing, a formal pre-application meeting, and we'll discuss with them any gaps that we have. But at this point, I feel fairly confident that, we have, outside of the 4% tax credit, pretty much all funding in place. Like I said, there's going to be some pluses and minuses here or there. And if we have a shortage at the end, we'll make it up through financing.
Well, I appreciate that, Joe, because yeah, thank you. I mean, we are, always waiting for a long time for this. We all know this. You and I have worked together to get through some of the problems in the last few years, but it always seems to be another problem, another day, so it's badly needed in Berlin, as we all know, but we're getting there. I'm happy to hear we got that much money and we're getting closer.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't want to say the 4% tax credit's, committed yet, but
I know.
As of right, and I don't foresee any issues. We structured this project to meet the requirements of that program, so I don't foresee any issues moving forward on this end of the equation. So, like I said, at this point, I think Michelle spoke to this. I'm not sure, but we're anticipating closing everything in terms of financing towards the end of the first quarter of 2022. And then it's a matter of processing, getting contractors on board, going out to bid. There's a formal process that takes place. So we anticipate, breaking ground come the end of 2022. The brownfield remediation grant would be awesome. But again, if that doesn't come through, we have other sources. Hopefully our legislators can step up and, put some good word in for us on the brownfield site. And that would be helpful to get that grant secured. And then we can move forward on, getting this project built. Any other questions?
I don't. Is a button on
Can you
the
hear
red
me
one?
now? I did send a letter of support, so he is in hand with that to go along with the application.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Questions for Joe? He's up there. Hearing none, thank you, Joe, for tuning in and updating us. I appreciate Michelle coming too and asking him about the generator too, which we'll work on that, I'm sure.
Not a problem. And I will see you guys at the end of November, hopefully with some more news and also working to extend the option agreement.
All right, great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
And Jim, I guess we're ready
Yes.
for a motion.
Move to authorize the town manager to apply for a grant from the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community for the development or for the demolition of the former Knights of Columbus building at 143 Percival Avenue.
Second on that? Second. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. And Joe.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5 is a bid award from the McGee Media Center. Doug Solok is here to present the agenda item. Doug, you're on.
Good evening, everybody. How are you tonight?
Hey, Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Yes, this is a project. Funding was carried over in the Board of Education 2% account. The business office literacy department worked very hard with the architect, the engineers to come up with the plans and specifications. It was bid out. We were able to utilize an alternate within the bid spec to help keep the cost within the project budget and capital carryover from previous years that's able to cover the contingency. We're planning on ordering all the materials this fall, get them stored before prices keep increasing, and then schedule and coordinate during the summer recess of 22 to do the work within the Library Media Center at the middle school.
Okay, great. Thanks. Questions for Doug?
Forward.
None? We're going to take a motion.
Okay, I move to award bid number 2022-04 to T&T Electrical Contractors, Inc. of Hartford, Connecticut, in the amount of $188,400. Lighting and ceiling upgrades within the McGee Middle School Library Media Center, which includes a 20% project contingency.
Second on that? Second. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Peter, any opposed? So moved.
Right, thank you. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Agenda item number 6 is a bid award of fencing contract. And Steve Wood, you're on.
Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Hey, Woody.
Steve.
Hey, so for the second time, we went out for a bidding contract for all the fencing work to be done in town for DPW, facilities, grounds, and the cemetery committee. And New Britain Fence came in as the lowest bidder. We figure with the way it's going nowadays, with the price of steel and fencing going up, to procure somebody for 3 years was in the best interest of the town.
Certainly the way it's going, I think it makes sense. You're right. Everything seems to be going up. Any questions for Steve?
Woody, haven't they come to our assistance in the past when we needed their help?
Yep, they took care of Beretta Field when we had the problem with the backstop behind home plate. They came out and did all of the work on Sage 1 for us, and they've always been available for us whenever we needed them, especially during emergencies on playgrounds.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Steve? Hearing none, go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, I move to award contract 2022-08 to the lowest bidder, New Britain Fence out of New Britain, Connecticut, installing, replacing, and repairing fences. Funding will come from line item accounts within fiscal years 2020, 21-22, 22-23, and 23-24 through established unit prices.
Second on that? Second. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Steve.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right, you too, Steve.
You
Thank you.
too.
Agenda item number 7 is a purchase of utility police interceptor vehicles, utilizing the State of Connecticut Department Administrative Services contract. I would ask Jim Simons to give us a quick overview. Thank you, Jim.
Evening.
Jim.
So this is just the awarding of this year's police cars. Previously in September, we were given enough money to purchase 3 cars and outfit them. Went to the state contract and MHU, who we usually use to purchase those vehicles and outfit those vehicles. And this is the purchase of the vehicles to put them on order.
Any questions?
Any idea of a delivery date?
Nobody will give you a delivery date on anything. All they say is it's going to get better.
They get better.
Can only get better, right?
There'll be someday cruisers.
Yeah.
Maybe. Wow. Amazing. Okay, any other questions for Jim? If not, we'll go and take a motion and pray that they come sometime in this century, maybe?
Sure.
Last ones took a year to get here.
How long?
A year.
It was a year for the last ones? When did we, so, and those, that was
So
before.
we did those just before summer break in July. And we were able to obtain and outfit those and deliver them to the police department in June.
It wasn't even as bad. I mean, it's,
No, it
I think it's
wasn't.
worse now, right?
Yes.
Okay, I move to approve the purchase of 3 2022 Ford Utility Police Interceptors for the police department utilizing the State of Connecticut EAS contract 12 PSX 0194 for an amount not to exceed $111,009.
Second on that, please.
Second.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Right, thank you. Agenda item number 8 is a meeting to appropriate $2.2 million for fiscal year 22 general fund unassigned fund balance on the purchase of 5 vehicles. Want to talk about the fire trucks, Jim? Sure, please.
In talking with Mr. Delaney, we decided that we would bring it to the finance board because the increase in cost of all the commodities and everything else. We did some checking and we found out that after January 1st, there's going to be a sizable increase. The exact percentages we don't know, but they could be anywhere up to 12% increase on those trucks. And when we're talking about a $900,000 truck, we're talking that we're somewhere in the neighborhood of a $180,000 to $220,000 increase just in that January time frame.
For one vehicle.
Or 2 vehicles. That's
Two-
for 2
for,
vehicles.
for each,
These 2 vehicles are the 2 busiest trucks in town, and they're part of that purchase that was made in 2001, delivered in 2002 of the 4 American LaFrance trucks. And it's their time has come. So these 2 trucks will be identical. Approved, these 2 trucks will be identical. One will go onto the highway in Berlin, and the other one will go downtown in the Kensington departments. And thought was that, you know, at some point the vehicles have to be replaced. And if we continue to wait, much like if we sign a contract after January 1, we're looking at a $200,000 increase, which nobody wants. So we thought we'd bring it up to the finance board. And the finance board says, bring it to the council, see if they'll set the town meeting, and we'll go from there. So that's why we're here.
We are.
Per truck. No, it'll be $100,000. $900,000 per is a truck price. 12%, and we just roll it back to 10% for round numbers. So we're looking at another 90,000 on that right off the bat.
Makes sense, but I assume the wait time on these will be as bad or is for fire
Wait
trucks?
time on these are 14 months.
Oh, my lord.
So,
Wow.
even the one that we ordered last December,
Yeah.
that's scheduled to come in February. And these, if they're ordered in December or January, it won't come into 2023, February or March.
What would the normal time have been if there was normal?
Well, prior to COVID, prior to everything else, it was about 8 months to 10 months.
No, Jim, when you came forward with this plan years ago, wanted to switch one manufacturer, so everything was consistent for the guys in the field, no matter which department they were from. But I think that was a great idea. Have you heard anything about options and things that you wanted on these trucks that may not happen because of shortages or changes at this point?
Commodity changes from one vendor to the next vendor seem to be pretty much across the board. So these trucks will bring them up to the latest technology out there, and hopefully they'll last another 20 years. Won't be replaced till the 40s.
Very well. I appreciate you bringing it forward. Makes sense to me. What do you all say?
Two meetings, see what happens.
Yes? Good? Peter, you're good?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So what do we just gotta, right, set the town meeting tonight, right?
Sure.
Motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to move to call a town meeting at 6:45 PM on November 30th, 2021 to approve fiscal year 22 non-budgeted appropriation of $2,200,000 from the general fund, unassigned fund balance, the transfers to other funds, both in the general fund to fund the purchase of 2 new fire vehicles, the balance owed on a third new fire vehicle to be delivered in early 2022.
Second on that? Second. Any other questions for Jim or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? So
Thank you,
moved.
Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Agenda item number 9 is a bid award for snow plowing town streets. Mike, want to take this one?
This will be easy. Good evening. We did our standard bid for snow plowing of town streets, and these are the full-size plow trucks that our guys use as well. So we got 2 bids, and it was like a dead heat. We had $200 per hour for both Stacks Construction and from Earth Contractors. So in evaluating both bids, Earth has been doing the work for the last, since I've been here, 3 years, and they also have another additional spare vehicle. So we want to go with Earth Contractors for this contract. I talked to Steve Carp, the highway, said, could we use both? And he said he doesn't need them. And if we go with both, we don't use one, as a minimum payment of $2,500 if we don't use them. So there's a financial kind of like a penalty for choosing both. So we want to go with Earth Contractors for this contract.
Thanks, Mike. Any questions for Mike? Now we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, I move to authorize the award of contract 2022-05, snow plowing of town streets to Earth Contractors LLC at the rate of $200 per hour, for primary vehicle, and $200 per hour for each spare vehicle.
On that, second. Any other questions? None. We'll go on to the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moved.
Great, thank you. Agenda item number 10 is a bid award again for snow plowing of town cul-de-sacs.
Yes, this is for basically the side streets and cul-de-sacs and some parking areas where they use smaller pickup trucks with plows. And we've been using 4 trucks for the last couple of years. This bid went out, and the 2 same bidders from last year bid again. Stacks Construction came in with $155 per hour per vehicle with a driver, and Rogan came in with a bid of $165 per hour with a driver. So we want to use both contractors, as we've done for the last probably 3 years.
Right, should be good. Any questions? I will take a motion.
Okay, I move to authorize the award of the snow plowing of cul-de-sacs and miscellaneous areas. 2022-06 to Stax Construction Services at the rate of $155 per hour. Rogan Enterprises LLC at the rate of $165 per hour.
Second. If no, there are no questions, we'll go ahead and vote on the motion. Motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moved?
Great, thank you, Mike. All right, agenda item number 11. So these are amendments to chapter 3, animals, and chapter 13, parks and recreation open spaces. This is recommendation from the ordinance committee. And I won't go through the whole document. So there are changes made to especially section 3.2, definition of animals ordinance, chapter 3, to amend definitions. The definitions are at large, and one is public nuisance and under restraint. All those are underlined in the next couple of pages. They've been it's changed. And then also, second, there is a designation of the meadow area that we discussed as in the Bicentennial Park as an off-leash area that's incorporated into the language as well. The third one is section 13-32, Dogs of the Parks and Recreation Open Spaces Ordinance, chapter 16, consistent with proposed amendments to chapter 3 to make the language consistent. So those are the three amendments, sections that we talked about. The action here is to change the ordinance, have a public hearing, get feedback from the public. You get a chance to look at the language. Of you are present at the ordinance committee, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we kind of started at the ordinance committee, but if anyone else, I mean, we obviously have another shot at it after the public meeting. And for the public to let us know what they. So we just sent it to public hearing, so we certainly have another bite at the apple. So if you want, if there's no questions, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, I move to authorize the town manager to schedule and advertise for a public hearing to be held on Tuesday, November 30th, 2021 at 7 PM. Amendments to chapter 3, animals, section 3-2, definitions in chapter 16, parks and recreation and open spaces, section 13-32, dogs.
Second on that? Second. Thank you. Any other questions on this? Now we'll vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved.
Right, thank you. Agenda item number 12 is another recommendation from the ordinance committee. Amendments to chapter 16, taxation and finance ordinance, section 16-15D, concerning exemption from personal property taxation of vehicles for the handicapped. And this one is actually a recommendation by the assessor that I'm supporting. It's pertain to our residents who have disabilities and their vehicles heavily modified. To give you an example, these are not just a handicap sticker, not to minimize that, but these are vehicles that have been fitted with one or more of the following: special hand controls, lifts, ramps, special seating, stretchers, significant modifications to accommodate medical equipment such as oxygen, mechanical respirators, and other similar significant alterations. So way it stands now, our residents have to ask for the exemption every year. We are recommending is to just ask for it once, and as long as you're a resident in Berlin, that'll be good. It is, I think, is a little nuisance for people who do this every year. It would be a nice thing to do for our residents.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And again, it's asking for a town public hearing for this.
Yes. Okay, any questions for Roche? And then we'll go ahead and take a motion.
I move to authorize the town manager to schedule and advertise for a public hearing to be held on Tuesday, November 30th, 2021 at 7 PM. Amendments to section 16-15, part D of the Taxation and Finance Ordinance of chapter 16 of the Town of Berlin Code Book. Amend the process for applying for an exemption, personal property taxation of vehicles for the handicapped.
Second. Other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Uh,
Agenda
I'd like
item,
to hold off on this one.
the flag.
Yes, I'd like to, because I kind of feel like we didn't really have a chance at the hearing ordinance committee. There wasn't a lot of, just maybe chance for some more public comment. I don't know how we would get that out there. Maybe if we just put it on the next agenda or, just so people can want to talk about it before we I just felt like it was, an issue that we had been dealing with earlier in the year. So I'd like to just make sure there's enough time for people to comment. That's all right. We could just.
Yeah, I'm fine with
We
that.
support that, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We want to ask people to just forward their comments.
Yeah, they
or
can
you-
forward their comments.
Or come to the audience. of
Email them or
citizens
send
next
them,
time.
or if they want to come to the next meeting. We schedule
Absolutely. We are not
little
in
bit
a
more
rush to
time.
do this. Do you have any advice on that, Kate? How we might get feedback?
I just, kind of
problem.
that ordinance committee came up quickly and I know we're trying to get some things done, but
Like, look, people,
okay. Thank you.
Agenda item number 14 is the appointment of a temporary town manager. So I mentioned I'll be away for a couple of weeks to attend to a personal matter to family. And I think it'll be good to have a temporary town manager to keep the day-to-day activities going, forward flow, all the things that you have to sign, etc., so that there won't be a bottleneck operations. So here I have Mike, happens to be here. He's a fantastic job,
The lucky victim. Nice.
even keeled, level-headed.
For you.
And I'll be on email, whenever I can.
Get his cell numbers.
So there's no cell. So, and if you, the charter requires 5-6 for me to make a recommendation to you and to get your approval for that. And that's the motion in front of you.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine, right? Everybody okay? Ready to take a motion?
Sure, I move to approve the appointment of Mr. Mike Ahern as the temporary town manager during the absence of the town manager, effective on noon on Thursday, October 21st, 2021, until the town manager resumes managerial powers and duties.
Second on that? Second it? Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Just good luck, Arosh. I hope everything is out for you.
Thank you. Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mike. I think, probably not, but. Yeah, Roche, I hope, your family trip goes well and thanks. Best it can go. Thank you. Appreciate it. Right, so.
Item number 15, be added to the agenda.
Oh, yes, 15, you're right.
1A.
Yep, yep. Forgot about that. Is that one?
Has to do with just.
It's a fee waiver.
Oh. I was in the beginning. That's all right. I don't have enough else to do with that. As soon as you're making the motion before, I didn't know what you're talking about. I didn't see it. All right. Questions on this? Not, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, I'll move to approve the request of the New Britain Youth Museum at Hungerford Park, 193 Farmington Avenue, to waive all fees associated with the installation of 2 tents on the patio area. Amount of the fees to be waived is $165.
Second on that?
Second the motion.
Any, comments or question on that? Questions on that? None? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstention, thank you. Motion passes, thank you. Thank you. If I could just, we have some few appointments, I'd just like to make one tonight if I could, and just want to, planning and zoning, if I could just putting on a regular member. Is she a regular member? On an alternate, right?
Right.
I was just gonna, look at the planning and zoning appointment.
The plan and zoning, yes, that's a
Is
regular.
that this a regular spot?
Yes.
I don't know why, oh, it's here, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, yeah, I just don't leave that vacant, and I don't, and I, zoning board of appeals. There's a lot of people on planning and zoning from zoning board of appeals, because they, are the ones that question what the planning and zoning commission does sometimes, or they see the people that come in and question things. So. All right, if I could just have a nomination for planning and zoning candidate.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the other one. You don't have this.
For Sandy.
I will nominate Planning and Zoning Commission,
Right.
Sandra Capola.
All right. Okay. Any other nominations for that position? Hearing none, we'll close the nominations. Vote on this candidate. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right, so moved.
Yes, we have conservation commission too.
Yeah, I'm gonna put those two, the other two off for now.
Why?
Just that some other candidates that were interested in maybe both those spots, so I'm gonna wait one more time. We'll do it at the next meeting if we don't, the other people that have spoken to me and said they were interested, just trying to.
Okay, as long as we do it next meeting.
Yes.
I don't understand why we hold off.
Well, people, they asked me to put, and I want to put in their applications and they don't, so I'll give them one more shot, and after that, we're out of luck. If we even pick them.
There was other interest for the building commission too.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. So, all right, so where are we at? Town manager report? Yes.
Have one update, just update you on the school nurses situation, just staffing.
School nurses?
School nurses, yeah.
Okay.
So as you recall, we did a restructuring with the VNA. And as part of that process, we are also delegating someone else within the school system, manage the scheduling and all that. It is an odd model that we have. Most Board of Ed nurses are part of the Board of Ed. It's under the VNA here. And it is my understanding it was not working well. There was no real communication. They didn't have a dedicated person who actually knew exactly what was going on. That's a little background. So we posted a position that would have a lead nurse that would manage scheduling and all of the related issues, the high school, the middle school, and the 3 elementary schools. So that's in place. What is happening now is we have one nurse that left high school, so there's a opening there.
School nurse
School
left.
nurse, right. And then possibly one coming up with not possibly, they'll maternity leave will happen at some point during this year.
Yeah.
And we are also having a difficult time getting some of the per diems to respond to shortfalls when there's a need. This is not something unique to Berlin. There's a severe shortage of nurses.
Okay.
And there's a short-term issue and a long-term issue. The longer-term one would be that we might have to think about how we attract and retain school nurses. For example, one of the nurses who offered a job in New Britain, for example, the rate is much higher and they're giving a sign-on bonus as well. Right? So it's something that we need to think about. What I'm trying to avoid is to have a situation where we don't have enough nurse coverage for a school. What I'm recommending is unless you unless you object to this, for them to go and hire a 20-hour part-time nurse to get through this school year that we can perhaps rotate in all the schools when there's a shortage. There is sufficient money with the savings that we would have in the VNA, filling that administrator position. Then also we can take it from contingency. But the VNA piece is sort of tied because VNA now has 3 less DEs who are licensed registered nurses. When school had shortages before, we would have the VNA nurses go and take care of the schools when there was a need. Can't do that anymore because we're down to 2 nurses now, not 4.
Oh, okay.
And we also don't have the administrator. Right? So it's a short-term fix to get through this year. We really need to make sure that there's enough coverage. And the school nurses are also facing a lot of demand. They have to do weekends on contact tracing. And then other requirements related to field trips that were not there last year. So there's a lot of pressure on them to perform and get a lot of things done. But I would like to get ahead, and I met with the lead supervisor today and with the head of the VNA, and we thought this would be the best approach so that we can. It's not a money issue. We have the money. We'll have to move it around. But I just want to give you a heads up because if you object, we won't do it.
No, I mean, we know it's a problem, right, with the whole, the VNA and plus the school nurses, right? I don't think the school nurses, the nurse that left, was it just because she wasn't happy with kind of the way our system works? And I know Berlin's a little bit different than.
I think economics is a big part.
Economics was the big part, yeah, better, okay.
I think there are other school systems that are doing exactly what you're saying to do. They're either hiring a per diem substitute nurse, if you will, or at least having somebody on hand that can bop around to wherever the school nurses would be seen.
Yeah,
It's a smart idea.
right.
There's a huge demand right now.
The tough part with the per diems, you can't call in the morning off when somebody calls in sick. Because they're already committed. Call them a week in advance. You can't. They'll be available, but the day before, the morning off, they're already committed. They got in high demand, not right now. There aren't many per diems staying at home waiting for a call.
Does it make sense, or like looking at the long-term planning, to pull the school nurse portion out of the VNA and put it with the Board of Ed, or can we not do that?
Yeah.
It's in the town charter.
It's in our charter.
It's in the charter.
Do a charter revision and we can do it.
Therein lies the problem, Mike. It's just.
Hanging my head against it.
No, that's, we all are with this situation, yeah. no.
If you want to, yeah.
That would be the preferred method, yes, no question, right?
Absolutely. It doesn't belong there. Doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
And
It's
the
not.
school Board of It should be able to control that.
Yeah, right, of course.
Yeah.
No, it's
School
frustrating.
nurses.
Now I think the school nurses are frustrated too,
Yeah.
from what I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's terrible. Well,
So when we get to the budget process, we would come up with a different plan. We need some time to think it through, but I do think we have to. We're anticipating issues, but we should. It's going to happen. You don't want to be in a situation where you are short of school nurses.
no. God. Yeah, no, I'm sure we're all in agreement. Everybody agrees with that. Yeah. Gonna do it.
Thank you.
If we fix it.
That's all I have for an update.
Thank you. Gotta fix it one day for good, I hope. Or we can do something about the whole NA and school nurse scenario. So very much a quagmire, not easy to fix, as we have found out because we've tried, but so hence the consultant, right? And we approved that consultant to come in. When is that consultant coming in?
We just mail them the deposit, so they should start next week.
Oh.
As soon as they.
Oh, good.
Yeah, next couple of weeks, I would think.
Great.
Started.
the better. Special committee reports we had, right? We had the ordinance committee, which we saw evidence of tonight, what we did with the beach law and the flag, and those are going forward to public meetings. Any other, there was no other, any other special committees? No, right? Just the ordinance? Okay, no.
I'll just give you an update on the subcommittee
Oh, yes.
with the community/senior center. A couple of us did go out and visit Bloomfield Community Center. I thought it was instructive. We heard a lot of, pluses and minuses, things that were missing, things that they wish they had, a lot of ergonomic problems, construction wise. Learned about, their facilities, combined services in the same building, kind of what we're trying to do. There's 2 more scheduled for next week, Mansfield on Tuesday and Newtown Wednesday. So different people of the committee are going to get a chance to go visit. And then we'll go from there. We don't have another meeting till like the first week of November. So we're doing what you've been asked, you asked us to do. So it was very, very nice. Bloomfield to see a place in person.
Is it new? Is that a new one?
It started, it's been open for I think 2 years.
Oh, okay.
They had 9 months before the pandemic hit, and then things slowed down a little bit. But they were very busy. They said for the first 9 months, it was being used a lot by the
You
community.
have a pool?
No.
Square footage?
About 56,000 square foot.
Thank you guys for that on that committee. I know it was a lot of work to do. Sorry, but I'm glad you guys are starting again and look at it so we can get that moving forward. Was it right? No other special committees, so council communications?
Can I say something, Mark?
You certainly can.
The rest of my crew went to supper, but
Oh,
I wouldn't
sorry.
leave before I mention the young lady who I had the pleasure to share a seat with, or be my seatmate for the last 4 years. She has her presence. She has brought a class and a energy to me and to the council as a whole. Her service to Berlin goes beyond her time on the council, as witnessed by the Lasagna Project, which I was lucky enough to be a recipient when my wife wasn't feeling too well. She has not only put herself and put the town ahead of her own needs and services, but she's been an asset, not only to us on the council, but to other boards and commissions when they've asked her opinion. And she's been a credit to us, to her family, and to herself. And I just want her to know that I'm more than sad that she's leaving, and I will cherish our time together and our friendship. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you, Pete.
You beat me to it, Peter. I wanted to say a little something too, just because, when you enter into something like this for the first time, it's nerve-wracking and you're not really sure what to expect, but it's very, very eye-opening and very helpful for all the guidance you've been giving to me, just to really watch somebody who has the wherewithal to be able to put themselves out there and to just to really fight for things. And it really gave me a lot of information, but also a steadying hand throughout the last 2 years. So thank you so much for your help and your guidance. I look forward to being able to work with you in other ways after these 2 years. So thank you so much.
Thank you both for your very kind words. I was not expecting that, and I very much appreciate it. No, it's been an honor to serve on this council and to serve people of Berlin and done so on the Board of Ed, on the Economic Development Commission. 2 terms here, I have been delighted to have my paisan, Peter Rosso, next to me all these years, who's been a mentor and a friend and just a most delightful individual. And Mike, I really do hope that you can, will continue in this arena. You're just you're a lovely individual who I think just so level-headed and has one wonderful presence about him, and that you've just done so beautifully in your capacity as a counselor in your first term, and I very much appreciate it. We'll say Arosha and Kate, as far as I'm concerned, are both in leadership roles, and I think that you're both such just wonderful individuals, have exercised just stability and calm, and just been such an asset to this town and to this council, and I'm very grateful for that. We'll also say that there are things that I'm contending with right now, that there are certain people that are trying to discredit my service to this town. And regardless of what happens, regardless of what the outcomes are, cannot take away how proud I am to have served this town in the capacities that I have. I'm really excited about continuing to move forward with my social justice work and my advocacy work. And I just want to thank you all very much.
Thank you, Joanne, for that, and definitely appreciate your service. I'll know it's all, I've said it before, we're a town of volunteers, and, people step up in Berlin with all the commissions, all the councils, and you've, stepped up for the town council, which we all know sitting here, we're a little crazy to want to do it, I guess. But it also is, I think we all have the same feeling of serving the community and, and doing the best for our hometown. So appreciate your service, and, thank you, and good luck.
Thank you.
I was going to say the same thing there, Counselor Joanne. You served a long time on the Board of Ed. I don't know how many years that was off the top of my head, and economic development. And say the same thing Mayor just said. Good luck and fun. And what next?
Thank you for your service, and good luck with your next endeavor. I think Joanne, find it as a relief too, honestly, in some ways. I mean, I know you're gonna miss it, but you know what I mean? It's right.
No, like I said, I'm
it's stressful.
continuing with my advocacy work, and really excited to be spending a lot more time with my very beautiful, adorable grandchildren.
There you go.
And
That's important.
they're delightful.
Yeah,
I've got
that's
3
good.
toddler grandchildren, it's twin boys.
Oh, nice.
Harrison
Okay.
and Sebastian, that are
Oh,
3.5, and Cecilia, who's 2.
oh, nice.
And
Okay.
they're just like, lights in my life
Yeah.
right now. So,
Well, that's
and my youngest son just moved back east from California. So
oh.
I have him back on the East Coast, and that's great. And now I'm going to shut up because I'll just keep gushing about
That's
them
okay.
if I
No.
don't stop.
No, it's good. No, that's great. Listen, spending family time, we can't get that back, right? And I think all of us that have served the town, you've served it for a long time. Well, many of us have here too, and you can't get some of the family time you miss,
Right.
which is sad, but I think it's also noble that we step up to help our town. So thank you again
Thank you.
for that service. Any other council communications? Okay, we'll just go to the acceptance of minutes. I know we're running late tonight. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Believe me, I'm sorry. It took so long, but
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from October 5th, 2021.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Peter, you accept your mention there. Okay, so moved, and now we are on to our executive session. If we could go ahead and make a motion for that.
Sure, I'll make a motion to go into executive session for pending litigations to Connecticut General State Statutes, Section 1-206, Part B. Strategy and negotiations with respect to pending claims or pending litigation for the New Britain Stadium Pilot Agreement negotiations.
Okay.
Add it in.
Yeah, and we're voting in, obviously, town manager, D'Onofrio. Is that it?
I would call in Joe Ferraro.
Oh, Joe Ferraro, okay, yes, okay. And, so we have a motion seconded by, right, we seconded motion. Yeah, and, 9:20. All those in favor?
Aye, thank you.
Good night. All right, so we'll just take a moment to ready and, they're gonna call in, right? Yep. Okay. Wrap this up here.